When it comes to Bay Area basketball, few stand taller than the legendary Pete Newell. This Wednesday is the premiere of Basketball Guru, the Pete Newell Story, a documentary chronicling the life of one of the most brilliant basketball minds. It's Wednesday, 8 p.m., and you get it right here at CSN Bay Area. I am very much looking forward to this. I'm from the Midwest, so Ray Meyer was a big deal there. I know John Thompson's a big deal in D.C. In the Bay Area, Pete Newell is that and more when it comes to coaches. Doug Harris, the producer and director of this Pete Newell story that we're going to have here at CSN Bay Area. So why don't you just give us a blanket statement? What made Pete Newell special, Doug?
I think what made Pete Newell special was his ability to make everyone else such a great coach, such a great executive, such great people. He really had an impact on just about everybody that sought his information and knowledge about anything to do with basketball.
He's a Hall of Fame coach. So explain how successful, when we think of that, we think, oh, John Wooden was successful. How successful was Pete Newell as a head coach?
Pete Newell was a very, very good coach, but he didn't coach that long. Pete Newell got out of coaching when he was 44 years old, which is unheard of in today's world of coaching. And he left basketball for a reason, and he was such a perfectionist in all aspects of the game that he was literally overwound up, and his doctors told him that if he continued coaching, that he wouldn't live very much longer.
Wow, that's interesting. Think about it. Some guys don't get their opportunity to be a head coach until after they're 44. He quits when he's 44. So when you were seeking out the right people to try to bring to life Pete Newell, who did you get to talk and tell stories? Who did you get to talk to about this great coach and this great man?
Well, it's kind of interesting that when Coach Newell and I started this project about 3 years before he passed away, he gave me a list of the people that he wanted to be in this story, and he got me connected with them. And so, I mean, when you look at the list, the cast members in Basketball Guru, it's like a who's who of all time in professional basketball. I mean, a lot of the cast members are in the Basketball Hall of Fame, and some of them are coaches that you never heard of. So there's a big cross-section of people in this film, and they have some very great insight about Pete Newell.
You know, I mentioned some of the other coaches in different parts of the country where they're synonymous with basketball in that region. How much do we appreciate all that Pete Newell gave to Bay Area basketball? You might remember him at Cali, won a national title, Olympic coach, won at USF. But like you said, he quit coaching so young. Do we appreciate him enough for the greatness that he brought the game?
I think a lot of people don't know who Pete Newell is.
That's funny, isn't it? In a sad way.
But when you talk about basketball aficionados, basketball enthusiasts, when you mention Pete Newell, people are all ears and they want to know, what you knew about him, some of the things that maybe he shared with you. One interesting thing that I found out about this documentary project, about Pete Newell while doing this documentary project, was there were a number of situations where Pete Newell had his hand on changing the direction of the sport of basketball. One situation occurred with Jerry Colangelo, but the one I'd like to speak about tonight was the fact that Pete Newell had a guard when he was the general manager of the Lakers named Gail Goodrich. And he tried to peddle Gail Goodrich to the Milwaukee Bucks, to Wayne Embry, who's also in the film. And so Wayne wasn't going for Gail Goodrich because he was older and he was getting up in age and older in his career. So Pete Newell dealt. It wasn't really a deal. It wasn't really a trade. It was a deal. It was during the time when free agency in the NBA first started. But that deal that Pete Newell did with the New Orleans Jazz landed the #1 pick 3 years later, which enabled the Lakers to draft Magic Johnson.
Really?
So had that deal went through, it would change the complexity of basketball as we know it.
Doug Harris, director, producer, Pete Newell Story, 8 p.m. Wednesday, right here. Basketball Guru, the Pete Newell Story, right here at CSN Bay Area. It is a must-watch. Doug, thanks for your insights. I'm looking forward to seeing this one. This is going to be a lot of fun.